Welcome to Spiritual Psychic with Sarah Wiseman, where you'll learn how to unlock the secrets of spiritual intuition and your own psychic gifts. Here's Sarah.
Welcome to Spiritual Psychic. I'm Sarah Wiseman. Today we are entering into a new series of podcasts, the 33 lessons. And I haven't quite decided if I'm going to do 33 podcasts, one for each lesson, or if I'm going to sort of do more of a summary format, but I'll decide that as we move forward. But the first lesson is going to be just a little bit about what are the 33 lessons. And some of you are familiar with this work and some of you aren't. Let's see. Some of you have heard this story too, but many years ago, back in about 2008, I suddenly began to receive my first round of really serious channeling. I have been channeling since about 2004, but that had always been a shorter style. Maybe I would get like one little paragraph of channeling, and it was like squeezing, water from the stone to get it. It was very slow, and it was a very slow process, and it was a very small amount. And then something happened in 2008. I don't really know what, but I began to understand that something new was going to be happening. I could just feel this building and building in my own opening. I knew something was coming, but I really didn't have any idea that it would be channeling. And then one day, so I had these boxes of books. I'd moved to a new house. And finally, after the books sitting in boxes for a really long time, the idea was that we were going to build a bookshelf to put all these books in. And I was kind of excited to see what book would come out when I first opened the boxes, like which would be the first book I saw. And so opened the box, and there, right on top, was Doreen Virtue's book, Divine Guidance. And I was really excited because I hadn't read it for a long time, and I went to put it up on my by the bed and put it on my bedstand by the bed so I could read it. And as I was going upstairs to put it there, I was just in the bedroom, and I heard clear as a bell, very loudly, this voice that said, "We want you to write this using writing. We want you to write this using writing." I didn't really understand what that meant at the time. And this was, a few times I had, a few times that I had received information like this, but never with such a loud voice, such a loud, clear direction, so compelling, almost as if, just looking around to see who was in the room with me. This isn't the normal way that I receive information. Usually I receive it in meditation through my right ear. It just comes in more like a thought, but this was outside of my head, and it was in the room with me. So I just immediately said, yes, yes, I'll do it. I didn't really know what it was. And so I had sort of agreed or made a contract or made a pact with the divine to do this task. We want you to write this using writing, but I had no idea what this would be. And just kind of set the book down and sort of walked away in wonder. Just sort of didn't know what all this meant. And then a few days later, just again, people that are creative understand there's this kind of building up when things begin to get ready to kind of bloom or come out of you. There's this sort of anxiety or feeling that they start to build. And so sat down a couple days later and had my trusty little laptop with me, sat down and opened the laptop and said, okay, here I am. What would you like me to write? We want you to write this using writing. Here I am. I'm ready. And I kind of expected, again, this sort of blood from the stone or water from the stone squeezing of information that would be very difficult and slow. And instead, what happened is pretty much immediately not three at this time, but two guides came, two sort of like Amishy style, Mennonite style ladies, Quaker, Miriam and Constance, and they said, there will be 33 lessons meant for the world. And I wrote that down. Lesson 1, the purpose of life is soul growth, and so on. And this continued on for several months. I would just go and sit. I didn't necessarily do this every day. I kind of did it when I was called to, but it took a long time. Nowadays, when I receive channeling, I'm even faster than I used to be. But at the beginning, there's this really delicate phase of kind of trying to figure out how to put what you're receiving in your mind's ear, kind of make sure the ego or the personality is not interfering with the messaging, and then how to translate that into first into typing, because I work on a laptop, and second into words, into language. And so it was very, very strange. And usually I would have my eyes closed and I would sit and just type with my eyes closed, not worrying about things like spelling or any of that, just letting it all be corrected later. So there were 33 lessons. The guides were Miriam, Constance, and then at the very end, the angel Gabriel, which was a big surprise. And the purpose of these lessons, what it is really is it's a series of lessons that helps you sort of move through all of the parts of you that you think you are as a person, and takes you right down to the soul level, takes you right down to the soul level. And to my surprise also, what was channeled is not just a lesson, but also there is a piece of question. There are questions after that were also channeled. I did not write them later. The questions were also channeled. So it's this process of soul inquiry or self inner work that is quite different than what we might expect from doing this kind of soul assessment or soul inquiry. And I have done the 33 lessons. I usually do them every January for myself. I just work through them in writing. And I have done them every year for many years. And you would think, oh, I've completed that. But it's not like that. Every year, these 33 lessons sort of meet you where you are in the newer stage of your development. Anyway, this podcast series, we're going to work through them. We're going to talk about each of the lessons. And then if you want to do the actual lessons, there are two ways. One, you can find my book, Writing the Divine. They're in there. And you can also get the course called The 33 Lessons, which contains the audio. So whichever version you prefer. I'm Sarah Wiseman, and you'll find me at sarahwiseman.com.